Pretty good.
The discs are a nice touch.
Yeah, trolls.
Welcome to the Halfway Cafe. Today's episode is all about motivation.
How do I look? No blood or anything?
Boogers?
Is there?
I mean, no.
And you gotta mind your feet so you don't, because this microphone is gonna pick it up.
Okay.
So don't
hit the thing.
Don't move around and make a lot of noise and sound.
10-4.
You know. I got my notes, got my yellow marker, trolls are here, discs, mic stand. I think we just go with a little more bass today, so the microphone picks it up, you know.
It can always be better.
It can always be better. I'm still waiting for the two microphones.
Yeah.
Well, I have the microphones, I don't have a receiver, but it'll get there.
So it is getting better.
Yeah, we improve a little bit. Now we have a set, a stage. You know?
The course gets better, and even the podcast can be better.
That's up to the viewers.
Yeah.
But at least we try.
It's kind of up to us.
Yeah,
to
make
try.
It
better.
Yeah. But if it actually is better, it's up to the viewer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm ready. Now we're on the deck of one of our tents, which you can rent and stay in. It's only 600 kroner per night. You have a twin bed, nice and dry, nice and cozy, right next to hole one.
Okay.
So I'm ready. So when you're ready, you can do your thing with the intro.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Welcome to another edition of the Halfway Cafe. It's a podcast all about disc golf course design. And today's episode is about motivation.
Motivation.
What motivates you to spend hours and hours on the course, putting in hard work, trying to make it better? Why? Why do we do it?
Yeah, I remember when I was I did a 8-episode documentary called The Magic of Disc Golf, which you can find on Disc Golf Network. And we recorded season 2, but there was no money for editing, and it never came to be. But I remember when I was asking guys at PCS and everywhere, like people that put so many hours and work into hosting big Elite Series events, why do you do it? Because usually it's not for the pay.
Yeah.
Because I've been wondering about this for a while myself.
Yeah, and it usually is a labor of love, a passion project. There are not often extrinsic rewards coming in like money and fame and whatever. It's usually something that comes intrinsically. So
explain the word, please.
Well, from within.
Okay.
Instead
intrinsically.
I
like it.
Extrinsic rewards are coming from without, but I feel like the disc golf course designers and maintainers, course maintainers, are doing it because it's coming from within. It's something they really would do even if no one else gave them positive feedback. Although that might be one of the motivations. We'll hear from some other course designers today.
Yeah, I reached out to a bunch, some that I thought of, and some that I got a hint about. You should ask these guys, and very many have replied. Some haven't replied. I guess it was the time frame was short, but I think we keep doing this. In every episode, you can reach out to us with your opinion, because we'll let you know at the end of this episode what the next week's topic will be. So you get a chance to get your opinion voiced by us, and then at some point we'll start having guests. But for now, it just makes more sense to just read it. So I got a lot of replies, but before we get into that, and of course, what motivates you and what motivates me. Like, we're in this Lilleland project, you have a slightly different role than me, but we're in it together, so that's also interesting. But just 2 quick comments from the last episode where we talked about hole 1. You can still send us like your favorite hole 1 or what makes it, and we'll keep going back as people watch episodes. So I got one from Callisto Garcia from the PDGA. He's their marketing media, does really good things for
Cool
the
guy.
PDGA Europe.
Yeah.
PDGA Europe, that's important. So he said, there is a hole in Spain, Purificación Tomás, home of Open de España. Hole 15, throwing downhill towards a stunning view of Oviedo.
Oviedo. Maybe.
That's on you.
I'm
city.
better with Spanish than I am with Norwegian.
Yeah, maybe. So that's his hole 1. You can probably Google it, look it up. And also he has a hole 18 here, which is a Chipiona hole 18, but that's really not. But he also said hole 18 in Chipiona in Spain is a really beautiful hole. And then someone reminded us of a hole 1 that we paid homage to at the national tour here. And that is hole 1 at the Tallinn Festival Songgrounds, where the European Disco Festival is. Like, when you come out on that stage, there's smoke, there's big screens showing like the player profile pre-recorded with the nationality flag, your name, your rating, everything.
So professional. And
yeah.
And imagine the player coming out on that stage, how you feel. You've got to feel great.
Yeah, and that also takes us a little bit back to what we talked about with like some of the nerves and the mental aspect of it. I guess it doesn't make you any less nervous.
And a big smoke machine.
Yeah, a giant smoke machine. We had a tiny smoke machine.
Psh,
yeah,
psh.
as an homage, as a tiny homage.
Yeah.
We don't want to big up people. So, yeah, that's important to me. That was Timo Josalo. He reminded us, Tallinn, hole 1. Really, really, really cool. The packaging of that hole 1.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, I also thought about Fountain Hills. There's a lot that we didn't mention. There's a lot of hole 1s out there. We can't talk about them all, but that water carry at Fountain Hills, same special experience as a player with them announcing you. And yeah, please feel free to send us your favorite hole 1.
That's also one I remember from when I started watching disc golf. I think that event was one of the first events I saw. And so that has a special place for me as well, all those holes going around that fountain.
Yeah, very iconic. One of the players' favorites. Used to be on the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's recap from last week. So now we dig into motivation. And the topic of motivation, we wanted to get this in early. I think it's cool to talk about and hear from others what motivates. Talk about what motivates us. I have a list of things like why do we do it? So I guess I'll start asking you, Paul. Why do you do it? You came here, the first ever RPM Open, so now it's your 4th time here. So that also goes into it. Why do you keep coming back? Why do you spend hours on the course? Why did you hook on to our dream and made it part of your dream to? Yeah,
well, I think of it in terms of relationships. For me, it's the relationship to the course, the relationship to nature, the relationship to our true nature, and then the relationship I have with this project here. And for me, that's what it's all about. And when I was designing a course in Pumpkin Hollow in western Colorado, I had help from the club and my friends there, but mainly it was a solo project, and it can be very overwhelming and sometimes even discouraging to face these grand tasks by yourself. And I think one of the things I find special about this situation is like our teamwork. and being partnered with you, and the relationship of the course designer with the course maintenancer, the maintainer of the course.
Yeah.
And so as playing the role of course manager is fun for me because I don't have to do everything. It's like being in a band, you know. If I just play the guitar, somebody else can play the bass and the drums, somebody else can sing. And then we have this beautiful thing together. And that motivates me. I feel like having somebody else to bounce ideas off of, and somebody else who's just as passionate, if not more, about a particular task, that keeps you going. And so I think of it in terms of relating, and now we're of one mind in a lot of ways. Like just a couple days ago, we realized hole 16 needed some work and was getting a little overgrown. And you went out there and spent a few hours of work while I was hosting a group, and came back and said something like, there's still like 4 hours of work to be done, and I can't rest. I can't do anything else until it's finished, you know. And
it gets like that sometimes.
And I'm here for you. And so the next day, before the C tier, I'm out there early doing a little bit of trimming when I had time. And then while I'm playing the C tier, you're out there finishing the job. So it's like having someone that can team up on a thing almost makes it more efficient than if it was just you doing double the time. So.
Yeah, we've talked about this many times, and it's during the off season when it's just me and the kids and Lena. Mostly me and the kids. She has the horses and everything, but then I find myself always looking forward to when you get here for the season, because then I know we can do, like, we got a new trimmer this year, so now we have 3 trimmers. One with a big blade on it to get like trees and stuff, and 2 with string. So now we can be 2 string buddies.
Yeah.
And we take care not to cross the strings.
Good point.
We almost did on one hole there, and
yeah.
You get double the squirting, and it's. But it's I agree on that part. Like doing, like there's things happening behind your back. And that's really motivating. And.
Yeah, and speaking of Lena and the kids, it's more band members.
Yeah.
I mean, we felt the support this last week with listening to feedback from the players that they wanted flags on the baskets to identify the basket and also to identify the particular layout. Mm-hmm. And we listened to the feedback, topic for a future episode. And already that week, Lena was picking out fabric at the store and starting the sewing. And then Auntie Anne-Marie was actually helping with the sewing.
Yeah.
And the kids are out picking up the sticks or the poles that we need sometimes. So it's like the whole family is involved. And that's the team that I think I feel motivated to be a part of.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. I have a couple friends, designers back in Colorado that sent me a couple of good responses that I can share too.
Yeah. We go through the responses we have, I think. And just, I think I can go like one of my points and then every other one of my points and then someone that sent in a point and then
Sounds good.
So seeing as I'm having the rock to keep the papers from blowing in the wind, you know. Trying to keep this not what do you call it? Like describe what we're, in case people are listening and not watching it on YouTube, you know. So we're on a deck in chairs, like rotting chairs, not rotting, like this binding whatever. I made a mic stand out of something out of wood. There's 3 discs in it, 2 trolls on the table, 2 discs. The table is black. Paul's name's black. So now you can picture that.
And in the background, the drop of hole 1.
Yeah.
Cabin you can rent here at Lillelän.
Precisely.
And behind the camera, a tent that you can also rent.
Maybe I cut to a drone image or something at some point.
Perfect.
So you can see.
Perfect.
So now, even if you're just listening, you know how everything looks. So back to my the rock. I have here bringing out rock walls as one of my talking points that motivates me. So bringing out the rock walls is something that kind of becomes... We find more and more of these rock walls.
Because they're obscured by plants and moss
foliage.
And foliage, yes.
Yeah. And there's just something about... Now I'm almost to the point where I'm putting down the trimmer and going with scissors. One, like, oh, there's a fern out. Snip that. Just because when the grass is trimmed real nice and short and the rock wall kind of pops out of it, instead of having a lot of ferns and grass and kind of obscuring it, as you say, just having that rock wall, it's just... It's so many times I want to go out and trim just so I can sit there and look at the rock wall. It's maybe difficult to explain why it motivates me, but it's just so visually pleasing to me.
It's one of those beautiful aspects, those features, and other players have commented about it as well. Yeah, that how beautiful it looks with the rolling grass into the rocks.
Yeah.
And some of those rock walls are from the 1600s, am I right?
Yeah.
So there's some history to those.
A lot of history.
Yeah.
Like real history. Yeah. There's just something about the aesthetics and how good it looks, I think. I'll touch more on it a little, or similar things later. But I thought I should start by reading one of the first responses we got from Hallingdal. It's a new course in Hallingdal. It's like kind of in the middle of the... Not southern, but like middle... Kind of in the middle of Norway. Not nowhere, Norway. It's a club they've started... they've been going for a couple of years, building a course, which now it's... I think it's finished or almost finished. It looks really good. They're throwing over water. They have a lot of rocks on the fairways, like big boulders. It looks really Norwegian, I would say.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got some artificial intelligence to translate it to English, because many of the replies are in Norwegian. So I'll start by reading this from Hallingdal. Our motivation for using all our free time for this is that we get the opportunity to facilitate an activity that is low threshold, inclusive, almost free, and does not require one to be a part of a team. That's nice. We want to be a supplement to all the organized activities where participation is expensive or where interest simply isn't there. We see that many people end up on the outside and choose to stay home instead of becoming part of an environment that doesn't require a special outfit or a lot of equipment. Perhaps we can manage to bring many lonely individuals into a community. Additionally, we want to have a course that embraces everyone, from complete beginners to those who compete and aim to win. It requires a lot of work to facilitate this. Our further plan is to create, our further plan is to create even more opportunities for children and young people to have a meeting place. Therefore, we have a close collaboration with All Hunting and Fishing Association. The club has purchased 2 shelters and is now developing a play area near the course that can be used as a meeting place and also serve as an audience area during competitions. Furthermore, we want to facilitate access for people with disabilities to use the course. It is challenging for us due to the terrain, so starting next year we will focus on developing paths, bridges and stairs along the entire route so that this group can also get around.
Okay, nice. It sounds like building community, getting people involved, maybe who don't normally have something to do outdoors.
Yeah, like low threshold activity. And
yeah. All right.
And yeah, kind of including as many people as possible outside of the people that normally do sports or whatever.
All right, I have one.
I like it.
My friend Greg Lacombe
Greg Lacombe.
Who built and runs a private course on his land in Crawford, Colorado. It's called Hidden Mountain Disc Golf Course.
All right.
And when I asked him about what motivates him, he said, if I had to pick one word, it is joy. Seeing the joy on people's faces brings me joy. The target oftentimes is not the basket, it's the larger goal. The goal for me is people's joy.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, this seems to be like something that they all mentioned.
Yeah, the feeling you get when somebody else is having a good time because of something you helped create.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for me as well. I've always said this with pretty much everything I do, if it's making documentaries or TV shows or before disc golf, and still we have this military riding course for the horses, like big logs and obstacles that the girls jump. Well, the horses jump, the girls are on top of the horse. Horseback riding.
That's it.
It's called military riding. It's the extreme sport. It's not, the obstacles don't move, so the horse has to clear it. And I never want any credit. I don't want people to come up to me and be, oh, it's such a nice obstacle, because that's just it's nice, but it's you know, but the joy of seeing someone maybe even falling off a horse and then getting back on it and then mastering it and experiencing like that feeling of, yes, I did it. Same with hole one here. When you see someone and gets the perfect turn and then they're shaking of, like, they can't even express themselves how they feel. And I know that I was a part of facilitating for that experience and that joy, and that's
yeah,
special.
when you see that smile, the look in their eyes, the high fives, that's it.
Yeah, or when someone comes up to you after you've been down on hole one red, trimmed along the rock wall, and they point out to you that, oh, that's really nice, Paul.
That's true.
There's joy there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get on the next one. I have a few others myself that I can come back to. So this next one is from, I'll use the trolls as weights. So now I'm putting the trolls on the paper so it doesn't blow away. You see what I did there?
What are the little trolls? Are Norwegian trolls, right? They hide out in the little tufts of grass and
maybe
near the waterways. What are they called again?
Now this is just, I guess, like hybrid mountain forest trolls.
Okay.
Small, like, but in real life these would be maybe 4 meters tall.
I see.
You should go watch the documentary with Otto Jespersen. Trolljägaren, Troll Hunter.
Okay, I will.
It's good. Then you get an explanation for this big electrical, like that runs the power over the Dovre and in Norway.
Okay.
It actually goes in a circle.
Okay.
So they're not transporting electricity anywhere. It's the troll fence.
Whoa.
Different episode.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. All right. So the next one is from Timo Jursalu. He's the head of the Estonian Disc Golf Federation. He has Mätagusa, Alutagusa, runs Alutagusa Open, the Baltic Disc Golf Championships. Has been here a number of times as a TD. Really good TD. Really good guy. He just had a child. Congratulations. Him and his wife. Okay. Lovely. So he said, creating something like this also gives a unique and unforgettable feeling. The sense of building something lasting and special. I would like to have a really good disc golf course close to my home, in my own neighborhood. That way I can enjoy playing in a high-quality course nearby. To make it sustainable, it's important that other players also come to play, travel to the course, and help support it financially. And also, be the best course in Estonia and top 5 in Europe. So that's a slightly different motivation. Like building something for himself, so he has a high-level course to play.
Yeah, yeah.
I can relate to that.
Me too. The backyard course in Pumpkin Hollow was designed partly for myself.
Yeah.
And the lines that you design are the ones that you feel like you need to work on yourself in some cases. That's interesting.
And also a goal of being best course in Estonia and top 5 in Europe. Also something I can relate to. Well, not the Estonia part, but having like a top 5 high-level course is definitely something we talk about here.
Yes, sure. And maintaining a high rating on UDisc helps motivate us.
Yep.
And being awarded one of the top 100 courses on their 2025 list.
It helps.
It does help motivate us a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. It's like all these small things. I can go another one because I have a lot. So this next one is from Järva in Sweden. So a little bit of backstory, and then we decided, or we thought about, should we have the ChatGPT like shorten it or narrow it down, but then we decided no, we'll read whatever they sent us, because if not, something might get lost.
And it's in their own words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have always had the motivation to improve the sport. When we started in 1979, that's the year I was born.
Wow.
The sport was brand new, and after a few years interest began to decline, to the point that disc golf almost died out in Sweden and Europe. We therefore had to almost start from scratch to rebuild the sport in Sweden. The goal has always been to create the best possible disc golf course and disc golf arena. We have worked for many years toward this goal, and in 2020, Järva Disc Golf Park was named the best course in the world by UDisc. Unfortunately, the course was destroyed that same year due to the construction of a cemetery. What drives us now is in part making things work financially. I work voluntarily with the course, so I don't have that pressure, but what motivates me is creating a great course in every way, an environment that enables clean play with as much throwing and playing as possible, and less struggle and punishment. It should be a beautiful environment, and we want to offer a setting that makes playing disc golf feel attractive. The environment should also look good in photos and videos, and that's a big motivator for both of us. Personally, I enjoy creating beautiful environments by thinning out vegetation, highlighting certain disc golf suitable trees and bushes that also serve as obstacles. The work itself is often physically demanding, but having done it so many times, the body has adapted and the motivation makes you forget how hard it is. When it feels tough, you just have to forget that and focus on the bigger picture, the overarching goal, and that makes you more motivated. I often walk around clearing brush and trimming tall grass, and what drives me in those moments might be knowing that this work will help a player avoid losing their disc, or allow a player to make a throwing motion under a bush or a tree. Or when we add sand to a spot, it's motivating to know it improves the experience by preventing slips or muddy shoes, or clearing branches that have grown and now block the view from the tee to the basket. These kinds of things all help create a better playing experience for a wide range of players. There's a lot there.
Yeah. You know, it's like the pain and suffering that you sometimes endure.
Yeah.
It makes the enjoyment of the finished product even better. You know, perhaps we need a little of the complications and the difficulties in order to really fully enjoy when it looks manicured and finished. And I get that.
He's touching on a few points that I have on my list as well, which is, I have it here, old large trees. Like you said, bringing out a good tree, good disc golf tree, I think you call it.
Yeah.
I like that, disc golf tree.
Yeah.
I've never heard that, disc golf tree. We have a few disc golf trees as well.
We do.
Like old oaks or like really mature big trees that we take the lower branches and then trim around it so it comes out of the ground and it just looks...
And you know when the tree is in just the right place on the fairway, when you know it's in the right place,
Yep.
That's a disc golf tree.
That's the, yeah.
I might start using that phrase. I like it.
I like it. Thank you, Jarvo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also what we've seen here is that the happiness of players when they don't have to search as much for their discs.
Yeah.
Like trimming low-hanging and foliage, and like this at this time of the year it grows a lot. So it's, you really have to get into it. But when you do, and a slightly bad shot, like he says, you can scramble out of it because there's room to throw. Or...
Yeah, and we've done more work like that this year, I feel like, chopping lower branches and clearing the brush. So you've still got the obstacles, you've still got the challenge and the difficulty, and even in some cases the punishment. But you're able to get in there, find your disc first, and then take a fun scramble shot. Yeah.
Like hole 1 red.
Right.
We went into the lower branches, the kids were there. I was with the chainsaw, you were just taking them away. Then we could put it in a pile that's not in the way of anything. We like to throw it away or burn it or turn it into wood chips just so it's not in a pile. But in this instance it could go in a pile, and it was 25 minutes work maybe.
And made a huge difference.
And then when you've trimmed, because these are also disc golf trees.
Yeah.
A couple of trees on the left there.
Yeah.
And that, it's just, yeah. There's motivation everywhere. In everything, pretty much.
It's true. The course calls to you.
Yeah.
And interesting.
You have another one?
I have another one. I did kind of edit mine down just a little bit, so
Okay.
it doesn't have the full thing. But my friend Mark Alton, who also has a great sense of humor, has spent countless hours over 10 years building and maintaining a course in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado at almost 3,000 meters elevation.
Ooh.
So way up there, out of virgin forest on difficult terrain. He told me he worked 120 hours per year, and it took him 10 years. So that's a long time. And it was brutal work all by himself. And when I asked him where he got the motivation, he said, the motivation, I guess, I drew from clinical OCD.
Okay, yeah.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds familiar.
So are we course designers just off a little in the head? Is that is there something there?
I think if you ask my wife, Lena, and probably a lot of her friends, they would say yes.
Does it take an obsessive mind to do this?
Well, when I was talking before about then I'm almost to the point where I'm going with scissors.
Yeah.
The answer would be yes. Definitely yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark Alton.
Yeah. 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 I'll read another and then get back to some of my other ones. So this one is from Andreas Broen Gullaksen. I think it's a new course around Trondheim. Jervskogen it's called.
All right.
So some background info, and again I'll read all of it. In Trondheim there are too few courses compared to how many people are actually playing. So when the weather is nice there are long queues. We're a relatively new club established in 2018, and therefore we don't have access to use the other courses in Trondheim for organized activity, since those are operated by Trondheim Frisbee Club. We built a disc golf course at Klæbu Golf Course, but we ended up in a situation where they wanted too high a green fee per player for a season pass. Eventually they wanted disc golfers to pay the same as golfers, and that takes away a bit of the charm, since disc golf is supposed to be low barrier and accessible to everyone. We sold the course to the golf center and have been looking for a new area for several years. And last year we finally found an opportunity at Jervskogen Ski Center in Malvik. It's about a 20-30 minute drive from Trondheim. And now we secured a home course there with a 10-year lease agreement, finally. Good on you.
Yeah.
We have a crew of about 6 to 7 people doing most of the work, and we supplement that with help from our club, Nidaros, during larger volunteer efforts. We built 12 holes of pretty good quality in a short time, since we got the building permit approved last year. Because yes, everything has to be drawn into maps, both baskets and tee pads, and we're not allowed to build within 50 meters of running water, so it's not the easiest municipality to build a course in. But we're doing everything by the book because we don't want to risk getting shut down later, wasting all the hours put in. We're currently working on a new application to expand to 18 holes, and we're also adding some extra tee pads to separate divisions. But the focus there is that they should still hit the same line, just from slightly shorter distances. So that's a little bit of the backstory and how they've spent a lot of time getting to where they can actually build a course. So a 10-year lease, that sounds smart. And yeah, doing it by the book, so
Yeah.
the city doesn't come and you have to do double work. So our motivation is to create a meeting place where everyone feels welcome, no matter their background or what they've been through in life. I personally started playing disc golf when I was going through a breakup with the mother of my 2 children. Being out in nature was pure therapy. And I felt that same peace during the recent course construction. The calm, the silence, and the bird song is truly balm for the soul. We also have people on the course crew who are on sick leave due to stress and other challenges, and they've used course building as therapy. One of them is now back in full-time work. Oh. I get goosebumps. Oh, my hairs on my arms is rising.
Love it.
My focus as club leader and on course development has been to build up the crew as a team and not to highlight individuals. This is intentional, to strengthen the group as a whole so no one feels left behind. But to do that, you also have to lead by example. So I've definitely put in some hours up in Javskogen. I love it. One crew member hadn't been up there for a week or a week and a half, and messaged me to say a lot was happening at home and apologized for not being able to contribute as much, especially when seeing how much the rest of us were doing. But I reassured him that volunteer work is surplus work, something you do when you have the capacity, and no one should ever feel guilty for having to prioritize other things. That's also... I love that. Like, you're not expected to come, but if you can, you should come, because a lot of places it's not like that, and I love it. But that says something about the kind of morale we built up internally. I also gave them a shout out in front of everyone who attended the course opening, with the mayor of Malvik attended. I've arranged for course crew clothing for them too, to build a group feeling and to make sure they're visible on the course in case of questions. That's almost like a recipe for how to start a club, run a club, and get people to come back and
then how to keep them motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, and that right there is motivating me to want to do more.
And this idea of therapy or healing, and just to being out in nature, part of a group, the good feelings, the good vibes. That is motivating.
Yeah. And hearing that it's changed someone's lives is also touching. Yeah. I have a few more points here on my list. I've put down farmers of old. We touched on it a little bit back then, but there's more things than just the rock walls. For example, our green on hole 11, which we haven't done anything to. It's just when you're on a course, you're on a property for a while, for a long time, and then like we walked where we might, or you might build a 9-hole course and saw that old rock pile and just, okay, someone has put in so many hours of labor here 400 years ago.
Right, and where they might have had sheep grazing, or
yeah.
There's a meadow.
Yeah, and just finding these like amazing spots or like areas in nature that you know it's a perfect green, or here I don't have to do anything, just trim a little bit, take a few trees, and maybe make the water flow a little bit different, but just bringing out what the farmers of old already put there, kind of.
Yeah.
there's a lot of motivation in that for me, like the knowing that, because every year, every month, we find somewhere new that, wow.
Yeah, like on 11, there's that rock bridge over the water, the creek right there.
Yeah.
Somebody had to build that, and how long ago was that? These are your ancestors.
Yeah. It's but the motivation in that is that I don't know. There's just something special about it. Something that touches deeply, like the history and everything. And I realized that not every location and every property has these kinds of things. But for a lot, especially Scandinavia, there's so much beauty that's just overgrown.
That's true, and just down the road they were digging up Viking artifacts
Yeah.
recently.
There's probably...
we might find some.
Well, yeah, but then we might have like archaeologists and with excavators and toothbrushes going through.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's not a hole anymore.
Let's be careful what we wish for.
But yeah. But we would find a way to incorporate that and do something fun about it, I think. Absolutely. So yeah, farmers of old, that they still find a way to motivate me.
All right. I like it.
Mm-hmm. You have more? If not, I have. I can take one here from... This is from the Systad Brothers. They have a course in Øygarden, also pay to play. They also have accommodation. It's also on their farm. And they make baskets. PDGA approved Blink. And we had those baskets here initially, before we got the RPM Helix baskets. And they have a really fun course. You haven't played it, but I'll take you there and so we can play it. So check that out, Øygarden. It's not far from here. So 2 brothers. So Jarle says, part of what motivates me is creating something, and creating it within the landscape and surroundings, like we just talked about. It's fun to make use of nature for something, while at the same time not changing it too much.
There you go.
I haven't read all of these either, so that's, yep. It's also fun to make something that others appreciate and use, of course. The feedback from others is a big reason why I keep going. The desire to constantly improve the experience for those who play, since the income we get from our course isn't much. So once again, satisfied players who behave well mean everything. Nicely put.
Yeah.
And then the brother, Jørgen Systad. The motivation for building and maintaining the disc golf course has evolved over time. In the beginning, it was primarily about creating a social activity we could invite friends and family to. An alternative to coffee or a beer at the pub. Disc golf is an inclusive activity that everyone can take part in, and it allows for fun, friendly competitions. It quickly became a favorite among us and those close to us. As the course grew in popularity and we received positive feedback, we were inspired to keep developing it. We wanted to offer a course where both beginners and more experienced players could find enjoyment and a sense of accomplishment. When we decided to open the course to the public and introduce the fee, it brought with it an added responsibility to deliver quality. We have also talked about this. And that gives us motivation to constantly improve the experience. Our goal is to give players something that stands out from municipal and free courses, both in terms of layout, maintenance, and overall feel. There's also a financial motivation, through day passes, season passes, and events like company summer parties. And we've developed as players ourselves. It has also become important to have a course where we can challenge ourselves and practice at a high level. At the same time, we still want the course to be fun and accessible for everyone. Finally, I'd say we see the course as kind of artwork, an exhibit we're proud of and enjoy sharing with others.
Yes, I can relate to that. You know, in Pumpkin Hollow, the work a lot of the times was clearing the jungle to create a fairway, and it was hand trimming willows and sawing and chopping Russian olives with giant thorns that scratch and puncture you, and just all of that. But when you finally had the fairway, there was a sense of pride, you know, like an artist standing in front of a completed canvas, and you just can just
Yep.
Yes, here it is. And there's a feeling there. There's a sensation.
I totally agree. I have that on my list here, so I'm crossing out as we go. I have look at it, sit there and appreciate. So it's the same thing. Like yesterday when I was on 16 trimming and got the white tee and around that big rock and everything looking so good, I'd like to take a moment. Sometimes I can sit there for half an hour just staring at it. And that motivates me to maybe not go right away to another hole, but then I know I'll take that with me into the next day. Rest a little bit, have a good night's sleep and a good breakfast with some eggs and coffee, and then I just get this twitch, you know, like I want to go out and sit and look at another beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's it. I've heard you express that recently too, how in the last year or two you've learned how to just slow down a little bit and enjoy those moments, and it doesn't necessarily slow you down or create inefficiency. It actually improves your efficiency because for some reason there's just a joyous feeling when you're doing the work, and you're able to maintain that by taking those moments to fully appreciate it, to really breathe it in. And you can get that just sitting on the veranda looking at 18. It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's just I could sit there for hours. Yeah.
Good points, Jarl and Jørgen. And they're also touching on the pay-to-play thing, which I have as another point on my list, livelihood, and then after that I put main job, and that is definitely something that motivates me. That now that we see here now that this could actually, we could employ ourselves, employ you more, and have this as I've said before, I work in the military a little bit, and that's like 2 weeks at a time, and then I have a lot of spare time. But be able to have this as the main job, the main source of income, right outside the door, that's becoming a bigger and bigger motivational factor for me, at least, to have that as like, okay, I know we see that it can actually happen.
Yeah, that's growing as a motivational thing for me too. And I can remember in school there was some motivational speaker said something like, find what you really love to do and make that a job somehow. And for me, I love doing this. This is super fun for me to be in Norway and working on the course, and then part hospitality, welcoming disc golf tourists who come to this destination. You know, and then for me, partly I enjoy the writing and sharing of stories like this with the podcast, and so for me, it's in a way creating a position that didn't exist before. This is what I love. Let's make a job out of it, a vocation, a calling.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
Yep, I have some more here. I'm just gonna check that.
Making sure the microphone is still working. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple.
Smart.
And now Stian is picking up the second or third page of notes from under the rock. And it's a beautiful sunny day, and the birds are still chirping.
So while you do this, I'll go and also check the battery on the camera. This is fun, interactive.
Okay.
Keep painting pictures, Paul.
Okay, and also we've got some colorful RPM discs on the table here. And what else can I say? The clouds slowly moving across the sky. The horses walking and grazing in the distance. And
Perfect.
Stian is back.
I'm back, and we got 56%. We got enough power.
Let's
keep going.
Yeah.
This next one is from Simon Östling at Eastern Meadows. They recently hosted a Q series, DGPT Q series, which Clay Edwards, our friend Clay, won.
Yeah.
And Julia Fors, the young Swede, won the FBO. You can check that coverage. Is it MDG? You can just Eastern Meadows and you'll find it on YouTube. So he says, Simon Östling, what drives me is a combination of my passion for creating, developing, and making a difference. I enjoy taking ideas from thought to reality and see great value in developing something to its full potential, no matter what it is. In my daily work, I'm involved in teacher education, where I get to contribute to others' development every day. This closely aligns with what I do on a voluntary basis. Designing and planning a disc golf course has been a way for me to create something lasting that engages and brings joy to many. I dedicate a lot of time to it because I believe in what I do and because I'm passionate about seeing both places and people grow and become active. So the passion for creating, making a difference.
Nice.
I can relate to that. It's that kind of, or like I have here, make a difference on my list.
All right.
So what I mean by that is if we can build something, create something that elevates someone, like that can improve their game or yeah, just experience something that is lasting for them.
Yeah.
And also make a difference in, it goes on to like the change and innovate I have here. And with that I mean, in the beginning, I think I talked about it last episode a little bit, that when I got into the sport, I could see that, okay, it's a young sport that still has to figure out a lot of things. Even though it has history, but it used to be all par threes and you threw at sticks.
Yeah, and there might not be a real tee pad, and you have to find your way around on the course without signs a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But now the sport has been pushed. There's a pro tour. There's more and more difficult courses being developed to challenge the rising level of players and disc technology. But still there's a lot of work to do.
There's still, you can inspire change, I think. Like this podcast, it's called Halfway Cafe. That we have the Halfway Cafe, so halfway you get some homemade rhubarb soup, which is actually like a energy drink that my mother makes. You get some cake, Anne-Marie is there with cake, and you get a little bit like just something that those small things maybe we can be a part of change for the better in the sport. If it's greens, should it be up to the no, we'll touch on greens in a later episode, but like the innovation and change, I think it's motivating that it's still possible. It would be a lot harder in basketball, for instance, or golf, or
yes, sports with a longer history. We're still new.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, ideas that we've had in conversations that come up. I remember when we hatched the idea of renting discs to launch off hole one.
Yeah.
We were at Crow Island.
Yeah.
Just having a conversation late in the evening when we really thought up what has turned out to be a great idea.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about putting camera towers on every tee pad with Wi-Fi, and there's a lot of ways we can push the filming, the player experience, the design.
And that's motivating.
And that
it's
motivating.
It's possible that it doesn't. There's no one set of rules that is like it has to be like this. There's no such thing as a PDGA approved course, for instance. The baskets needs to be approved, and different tiers and comes with different. But you can just build a course however you want to build it, and of course you realize you can't like have holes going like it's. But that it's actually possible to, like I said, inspire change or be a part of change for the greater good of the sport and player and everything. there's a lot in that for me, at least on the motivational side, and also the chance to be a forerunner, like that. Could we be a beacon course, a course that others look to and see, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
That's nice. Like you would look at a really good player and like, ooh, that backhand, I want that. I want Niklas' backhand, for instance. Or I would really like Goose's sidearm, or you know, Silva's putt, or
yeah. So then they'd be hopefully inspired by what we're doing here. I like it. Like maybe I can design a really great par 5, like Lily Leland hole 2.
Yeah, like someone looks to, oh, we should do this, because I saw that Lily Leland, they were doing this and that was a really good idea, or they tried this and I want to do that as well.
Yeah.
That motivates me, that maybe we can, by chance or by planning, do or create something that others will look to and go, ooh. Or even call me or text me about I get texts and messages and emails like, oh, I saw you did this and that, and how you come to be, and where did you get those materials, and blah blah blah. And it just makes my day every time I get one of those. It's I have more. Stian takes his sheets of paper. So this is from Kippis Heinola, which is one of the high-level top courses in Finland. So he writes, it's probably Mr. Kippis, I would say. Okay. Mr. Kippis. Thank you, Stian, for contacting us, and happy to hear about your new podcast. You asked about what motivates us to spend hours and hours on the course. I'll try to keep it short, and please understand English is not my native language, and it is 2 a.m. What motivates you to start a podcast? Why? Oh, he's asking us. What motivates you to start a podcast? Why anybody starts to do anything and continues to do it? Why do something for long periods of time? What motivated us to start the podcast?
I think we happened on this one by accident. Just two guys sitting on a rock.
But that we'll answer that, Mr. Kippis, and then read on. But I have doing this podcast as something that motivates me, and that was when we talked about. I think it was you who said doing the podcast, and then I said I get that same feeling as I got when I placed the first basket on hole 1, and I accidentally had a GoPro camera in my pocket and started filming. Spoke 2 sentences in Norwegian and then switched to English. Got really embarrassed because I'm not used to speaking English on the camera or filming myself. Worked with film and television for 25 years, but now is actually filming myself, and it just gave so much joy to do something that wasn't someone else. I want this and that. I want this ad to be blah blah blah. Which
just something you wanted to do,
like this podcast.
Yes.
But now I'm speaking all the time. How do you feel about it? The podcast.
It's exciting for me. I just to be a part of the conversation, and I just feel like we were already having these conversations, but it was just private, and nobody else was hearing it. And at some point it seemed like a worthwhile conversation, so worthwhile it was valuable enough to share with other people.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, to get them to be part of the conversation, which is what we're doing now, getting the take from these other course designers.
Yeah.
And getting their voice on the podcast. And I think that'll be a motivation for us as we continue the podcast, is to keep bringing in others and have their voice heard. So it's not only just our subjective views and all about us and Lily Leland, it's actually about disc golf course design.
Yeah, as a whole, and everyone can get their voice heard. And I like the idea that I like what we're doing now with reaching out and have someone think about their response, writing it down, maybe editing it a little bit, because then we can fit so many more. then if we bring people on, there's technical difficulties with reception and all of these things, but we can, their voices and they can be heard, or they can take part of it. And then at some point when we get visitors here, we can bring them on as guests just to keep that simple, but the main talks are the main thing.
It's also back to the point of being innovative, pushing the sport, and I'm not sure if there are any other podcasts right now. There may be, just only focused on disc golf course design. So we might be innovating this.
Yeah, so. But a really good point is what you said, that we're having these conversations, and people are having these conversations all the time, and we try to break it down to topics and go deep diving into topics. We'll probably also revisit topics when more comments and stuff arise, but trying to be open and share our subjective meaning or feelings and others as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mr. Kippis. At Kippis we have a dream of a disc golf paradise where everybody can enjoy good quality disc golf games in every skill level and at any age. 4, soon 5 courses and fun disc golf playgrounds are great places to do something. To do something fun with your friends and meet new friends who enjoy play disc golf too. Disc golf is a good way to have a nice walk in the nature. We believe that disc golf makes good for a human being. This is a social and fun game with easy access for almost anybody to play quite cheap or free. Kippis is free for everybody. I love that. There's so many people that work so hard and they stay motivated and provide free courses.
Yeah. And another of the designers talking about accessibility and making a place where everybody can come. I hear that theme again and again.
Yeah. And he continues, it is quite easy to arrange the baskets and signs and tees and find people to do it, but we want it to last for a long time and grow or get better in the following years. Few decades or even generations. How to get it to last and improve when the time passes. It is important to put a great effort for creating an organization. Do not just build a course, build an organization which builds and maintains the courses. Many share the same dream with us and want to help the dream come true. We want to make it easy for them to help us because then they want to do it again next time too. That's also a really good point. When you make it easy, say thank you and arrange special thank you events for volunteers. Ooh, we should write that down. Thank you events for volunteers.
Okay.
Smart for what?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kippis. Well, I have it written down here. I'm saving this. Give them nicknames and create a story people remember. Ooh. We share responsibilities and try to create evolving processes, what ensures the service level for the players on the courses, and not only for the events. Every day, everybody. We're not there yet, but we're on the journey towards it. We just need to learn to do things in a way that we get there. Amazing.
Yeah.
So he goes on. If we compare to other sports, why is that many sports has huge stadiums and everything is way bigger? FC Barcelona's new Camp Nou has something like 1,500 million euros to build a fantastic football arena. What are the elements why ice hockey or baseball has so huge facilities which are taken care of in a way that disc golfer cannot even imagine? If we could find even 10% of that to do disc golf, so much more would be better. What motivates us to do this all? We love the sport so much that we have a need to do this. Sometimes it feels like Frisbee spirit is guiding us to do so. Kippis gives many people more meaningfulness in their lives because they sense how they have contributed back to the community. It somehow makes good to you when you make good to others. The feeling when you're walking the same stairs you built to the course is something out of this world. Oh, goosebumps again. It comes back to just enjoying what you've done. Let's find a ways to make volunteering easier and give these possibilities to people. Many have time and skills and are willing to come if they do the 20% with the 80% effectivity. Somebody else has to do the boring basics. In dream situations, there is somebody who likes to do these boring basics. So the puzzle is who does it before we find the person who likes to do it, or how we motivate someone to fill the need. That's also good points, like giving people the right tasks, not putting them to a task, but so what do you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you good at doing? What are your gifts? Let's put you there. Yeah.
Many have seen our visions to come true in Kippis, and many want to see if there is something unseen what disc golf has not yet seen in the world, and help us to feel they are part of the success story. Amazing. And as said in our... So there's a video, apparently. The Dream Continues to Grow video. The world has to grow with the dream. It means we need to grow personally and organizationally too, to the next level. If you dream big, you need to be able to do big. Just learn how. Jim Rohn once said, look, if you want things to change, you need to change. If you will change, everything will change for you. We started from nothing, and after 20 years, we have a good start from where to continue building Kippis phenomenon. And to conclude, what motivates Mr. Kippis? It's about learning new things and the curiosity to see how the dream continues. When I was young, we decided to build a better facility, to build a better training center, to get better disc golfer. Now we have plans for decades and guidelines for the next 50 to 100 years. Wow. Our actions now should be aligned to these plans or goals in the future.
Yeah, they're very forward thinking.
Very much so. And it goes a little bit to what I have here on my list again. Create something incredible. Like create something that everyone talks about. That's something that motivates me. Like when I talk about maybe getting a zip line here. Just building hole one to be something out of this world. That's...
Can always be better.
You can, yeah. I have two more. This next one is from Krokol and Ola Kolle, the #1 course in the world on U-Disc.
Yep.
What motivates me and us to stay involved in disc golf is almost exclusively the joy it brings to regular casual players. Of course, it's motivating to receive praise from the top players and to have the DGPT circus visit. But it's the ordinary days that provide the surplus and motivation, the long lines and slow progress towards the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like just a single visitor coming to play the course and let's say I play a few holes with them is just as motivating as hosting the Nordics Cup. You know, like having Daniel the last few days from Germany and just witnessing his enthusiasm and joy at playing the course is definitely super motivating for me. And that's just the everyday, you know? The everyday visitor, the everyday amateur player. Interesting, from Krokol.
And he concludes, seeing all the smiles from players walking off hole 18 towards the parking lot makes all the work worth it. Additionally, it's very motivating to work with people who are such good friends. There is never a day I drive to Krokol that I view it as a chore. It's just a way to be together with friends. And on top of that, we get to do useful work that many people benefit from.
Well said.
Couldn't agree more. I see that I forgot to put one here. And it's from Leonard Moyes. Muse.
I think Moyes. Yeah, the
But
famous American designer. OTB.
Yep.
Yep. Disc Golf Hall of Fame.
So I gotta find... There it is. So it's a short one from Leonard. He say, wow, a podcast dedicated to course design. Cool. Hard for me to answer those questions so briefly. Probably better to have a conversation. So he invites himself. I like it. Probably best if you came here then. You can stay for free. Okay. My main motivation, creating an experience that others enjoy. knowing that I can impact that experience in many ways, and feeling satisfaction when I make choices that work the way I want them to.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, when he's designing a hole, he has an idea, but when he can see the players playing the hole, then that's when he gets the feedback he needs.
I can relate to that on our hole 17, which this off-season I changed the pin location because the green was potentially dangerous. And I put it down and in. And I wanted to try and create like the approach to be some sort of like an air bounce or skip shot, and I put logs as an homage to USDGC hole 1. So you can't just skip it up, you have to...
Yeah, it's a shorter downhill throw with a hyzer angle, and it is a unique shot I don't see much on
Very
courses.
unique.
Yeah.
And also I've played around with the idea of creating a grenade hole. Like there's no way to approach a green except with a grenade. And the idea was more fun, so this 17 kind of became that, because you can also approach with a grenade, and we see many people do that, but it's the higher risk of where you might, your disc might go and
where
hit.
It drops, yeah.
But this shot, I can tell that, because so many players said you have to take more of the branches. You got to take more of the branches, so the opening is bigger. And I've already done it once, took one branch, but then I was like, no, I have to be patient. I want to see more players here, and I want to see them struggle with it, but it still has to be fair. And I've done the shot a lot of times, and I can do the shot. And that's not to say it's a good design, but this is a case where we have to be patient. We have to get much more feedback, because if we take the branches, it's too late.
Yeah, you can't put the branch back.
And typically, when people struggle with something, they're usually not giving you positive feedback, I found.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that patience and feedback from the players.
But there's motivation in that. Like, okay, I gave someone a challenge that they couldn't quite hack, or, you know.
And by next year, they might figure it out.
Yeah, and we'll also take away some of the rocks on the green to make around the basket more fair. But it's a new hole, it's a new design. We kind of have to make sure that, okay, this is where the basket goes, then Digger Man can move the rocks, and we'll have a fair, like, 5-meter circle-ish. Yeah. I have 2 more points. Do you have more? I don't have more from people, so...
I've covered my notes.
All right, I have place in history.
Explain that.
Maybe it's just me, but there's something to be said about after I'm gone, or my kids are, or whatever. It's like Lille Leland and like hole 1 here might still have a place in history.
Yeah.
I've read a lot about Genghis Khan, for instance. He was kind of a little bit more radical when it comes to put his name down in history than me, but just that thinking about doing something that, well, when I'm still alive as well, of course, but that we are a part, that maybe we can be a part of disc golf history.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that appeal to you at all?
Yeah, 100%. And like that story needs to be told, and I hope that I can be a part of that, telling these Lille Leland stories, so that it can be part of history. And what we're doing now with the podcast, I think, is part of that. And hearing from these other course designers and the courses that they're building puts them on the timeline of disc golf history as well. Your Jarva, your Krokol, they're already on the map, and Lille Leland is relatively new.
Yeah.
And so it will be interesting to see what from 10 years or 20, 30 years from now, what will be the story that is told about Lille Leland.
Yeah. That's motivating.
Yeah. You
And
you might have just gave me a book idea.
Ooh,
I write the book, The History of Lili Lilan.
I like it.
I've been here since the beginning, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It could be a coffee table book with beautiful photos.
It should be.
Something you buy at Christmas time for your disc golf friends.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
Very good idea.
I might work on that.
I mean, you should. And my last thing was people happy. So I'm apparently making you happy with this podcast.
Indeed.
So now I'm motivated.
It's working. Maybe.
Yeah. That's all I had.
Another pretty decent episode, I hope. This one all about motivation. Our next episode, we return to one of the holes here, hole 2.
Yeah, the topic will be hole 2 on the course, or a course.
Yep, so come back for that. And in the meantime, leave us some comments. Be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us what motivates you. What's it like working on your home course? And how do you motivate others?
Yeah. And what's your favorite hole 2? What's the significance of a hole 2? How does hole 2 fit on a course? Yeah, lots to talk about on the next episode where we talk about hole 2.
So yeah, Stian Jonsson, I'm Paul Black. This has been the Halfway Cafe.
It can always be better.
That's it.
Once again, this was a long one.
This is like double the length.
I
of the
wonder.
last
I
one.
wonder how long it has to be over an hour.
Yeah, I think so.
There were a lot of, but that's fine. I mean, if you press play on the Disc Golf Course Design podcast, you don't mind it if it can be as long as.
You might be on a long drive right now. There's still hours left.
Yeah.
You wish there was more.
You listen to it, and then when you come, I want to see the discs they're talking about. I
Okay.
want to see how the trolls look.
You're gonna have to wait till next week for the next episode.
Yeah. No, this is good on. Thank you. Now you drive to the Norwegian Nationals to play the MP40.
Get to be a competitor and not just a course manager.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll come on Sunday and root for you.
I'll give it my best.